Lord, I thank you that you are here. Thank you that you are always with us. And I thank you that you are especially here this afternoon and that you are using Ule's mouth to teach us some very important truths, Lord. How to get closer to you, to know you better. And Lord, I thank you that that's what we're doing through this discipleship class. So we hand the class over to you now, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yes, we have a short recap today.
I took that away.
And I will try to get almost to the end of chapter 2. But let's take the recap first from last time. We will remind ourselves today that what we are here for is not to learn about the acts of God, but the ways of God. Because God's ways, they are so much higher than our ways, and we need to know about them. So we can recognize, well, if his ways are here, and my ways are here somewhere, it's probably better to try to find out what his ways are for my life, so I can get in the right direction at the right time, so I can grow at the right time, so I can do things at the right time. That's why we're here. At that time, when we get to know God's ways, we will also know the ways of the bride. Because as his bride, we are betrothed to him. So our walk together, ours with the Lord, has to be the same as the Jewish betrothal. We don't know him when we get to him the first time, but then we walk side by side with him in our life and get to know more and more about him and his ways. You remember some of the Esther teachings, and that was also about learning God's ways, but in a little bit simpler expression of how to do basic things with God. Now in this course here, we will learn some more specific ways. So we can learn how to run. And the most basic way we can say, if people ask us, how do you do this with God? You can say to them, well, it's very, very simple. One, ask God, listen to his answer, do what he says.
Yeah.
And basically, this is it. So maybe we should just close the course now and say, we got it now. But there's also bitter things about God and his person and his character and his ways in it. So we'll keep on a bit longer. We also in Esther saw that even though the flesh seemed to have the upper hand in something, suddenly God could turn that around. And we need to remember that in the situation where it looks like we are going to have a defeat as Christians. Then we can remember Esther and how God turned it all around to victory. He can do that for us. There's only one thing. We need to ask the Holy Spirit how to go about it and do what he says. Also, we need to have faith. And that is why God has this principle. If you are faithful in the little things, I will put you over bigger things. If you have faith to pray for a person and their headache goes away, next time you can maybe progress to something else, something a little bigger. Right? That's how it works.
I'm very confused here.
Are you confused?
Yes, because I didn't realize we were finished with Song of Solomon.
Yeah, this is Song.
This is just a recap from Esther at the moment. Then we've got the recap of...
It's Song recap, but I'm taking things from Esther
That's
to
right, was it?
compare into Song of Songs.
Oh, okay.
That's why Esther is before
okay.
Song of Songs.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Well, I mean, you can see why I was confused then.
But I was,
Because it was saying Esther, Esther, and I was thinking, where are we?
Song of Songs.
Okay.
Slide 4 of
I'm doing it sideways today.
You're doing it sideways, okay. All right, we'll do it sideways.
It
That's
says
okay.
Ole Hanberg, Discipleship, Song of Solomon.
It does.
It does.
It
Yeah.
does. Yes.
Read the small print.
Yeah. Oh, always read the small print. Yeah. We learn how to walk by the Spirit in Esther, and we learn to trust Him, and even though we really did not want to do what He said to us to do. Then we repented.
Sorry, is that mine? It's 1:30, we're supposed to have discipleship now.
We are. Even though we didn't want to do what He says, the Holy Spirit in Esther said yes, and He explained why, and then we repented and did what He wanted us to do. You remember it was Esther.
Sorry, is that Carol's face? Not mine. It sounds like it's
No,
my phone.
it's Bonnie's
It's
alarm.
Bonnie.
Just
Oh,
wait
it's
to
Bonnie.
stop.
Oh, I
It was
thought.
Bonnie's all along.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was mine because it's the same ring, and I wanted to let you know it's not me.
Did you get
She
what
just
I said?
couldn't find
Okay.
it quick enough.
Okay. And there was the situation where He says, "If I perish, I perish." That means we're supposed to be obedient even though we risk death. Right? Sometimes it's only by risking our own life that we can save it. But standing in front of the executioner and keeping Jesus as our king, refusing to get him out of our life,
To give in.
to give in.
Discard.
Yeah. So we need to actually see it this way. We could be subject to this test at some point.
In future, yeah, absolutely.
And to save our lives, we need to still keep the faith in Jesus and say, I love Jesus no matter what. We can practice now, because I know many people are a bit afraid of telling them no about Jesus. They're a bit afraid, like Anna was telling us about her daughter today, to say, if people ask her daughter, how could you suddenly do all these things? And then she's a little bit reluctant in saying, well, I prayed and Jesus gave me the power to do it, right? So, but we can practice this in our life here on earth. I didn't know I was going to say that, but that's how it is. We learn how to hang our flesh on the gallows, and we handed our signet ring over to the Holy Spirit. These three things are the main things we learned in Esther, and we take them into Song of Songs as well.
Okay.
Hang our flesh on the gallows. That means when God comes to us and say, we need to get rid of that stuff, then we also say, yes, Lord, show me how. Help me. And handing the signet ring over to the Holy Spirit is telling Him, I'm not going to do it my way, I'm going to do it your way. I'm not Frank Sinatra, so I'll do it your way. Right? So, those three important ways of the bride are the basic characteristics of a bride who's learning how to walk with God. This, if I perish, I perish. To be able to stand there comes from the revelation of Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. I mean, if you look at Jesus' death on the cross, his burial and his resurrection, and take it in so you can see he did this for me. I died with him on the cross. I was buried in my baptism, and I'm also now resurrected with him. That revelation of that, what that means, and what it really means is that no matter what I do on this earth here, I am righteous because Jesus did this for me. Sin doesn't stick to me. It lives in me, and sometimes it shows its ugly face. But I am not a sinner. The sinful body is just there, wanting what it wants. But I am righteous because of Jesus Christ. That revelation we need to be able to say, if I perish, I perish.
And you know that Jesus said that one time. Because when he was in the garden, he said, not my will, but thine will.
Yeah.
And that was exactly the same words.
Yeah. Yes. This.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. But handing the signet ring over is saying, I have realized now, I have the revelation that every time I want to do what I want to do, something not so good happens to me. And every time I involve God in my decisions, there seems to be victory. But we cannot, I mean, some people need to see this 10, 20, 30, 50 times. They suddenly get the revelation. But we need the revelation because otherwise we won't involve him in every decision. That means we go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down in our lives. But we can live in constant victory, involving God in every decision. Right. So, especially here in some of songs, we are aiming to master the qualities we learned in Esther. Where it gets a little bit tougher when we have to decide. The first thing we need to learn, we need to focus on is when we suddenly don't understand why God are doing things. And we kind of want to take a step back and say, no, right? We need to understand that behind every decision God makes, there's his love for us. And that sounds a little weird for those people who have lost a baby in their life. Yes. But there's a Danish author, Hans Christian Andersen. Don't know if you know him, but he's written a book, a story called "This Story About a Mother." This mother had lost a child, young child, and she complained to God and was really upset with God that he did that to her daughter, her child. Then God said, well, I will give you a choice. You can have your child back, but first I want you to look down this well. And she went to the well and looked down into it, and then he says, here you see the life of two children. One is your daughter, the other one is not your daughter. And then she saw this well, and she saw this life, this extraordinary life for one of the persons there, progressing to all kinds of things, good things, and that wonderful family. And then the other one had a very miserable life with disease, hurt, anger, everything, terrible life. And then I'm going to have a cup of water.
Can I just,
You're talking about the love of God. And then God asked her, do you want your child back? What do you think she said?
I think it was her child that was going to be the miserable one then, yeah.
you could see
Well,
that.
hopefully she made the right choice.
Yes.
I didn't hear that. Did you say?
What did I say? What do you
What
do you think this woman said when God asked her, do you want your child back? The important thing is, well, she said, no, I do not. I trust you, God.
Yeah.
This is, I don't know if you remember that I said before in another course that we may think that we trust God with our own lives, but what we need to is trust God with the life of our children and the life of our spouses. And even though it's very hard to lose a child, as this story in Hans Christian Andersen shows us, then we still need to think God does not allow anything except out of love. If we get a revelation on that, then it will make it easier. It will be hard to lose a child, but it will make it easier to know this was out of love. Okay?
And that's what happened in the story, wasn't it? It
Yes,
said to show
that's what
the
happened in
reason
that
why.
story.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, requirement for leading a successful Christian life is realizing that God's love penetrates everything he does. It's the starting point of every decision he makes. He always operates through love. So since we are going to do the same things that God does, then we need to say every action that we take ought to be and have their starting point in love for God and our neighbor. Jesus himself said, if you can love God and your neighbor, in every action you take, you fulfill the law. You did. Very simple to say, very hard to do. So, this is the start of learning how to run with God. If you keep this in mind, it'll be easier to start running with God. We've seen that God is interested in our growth and spur us on. Philippians 2:13 says, for it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. Sometimes we say, well, I really do want to. Sometimes we say, yeah, I do want to do what he wants, but I can't do it. Then there's God, he says, well, I've worked on your will to want to do what I want you to do. Now I'm gonna work on your capability of doing what I want you to do. That's what it says. Even though we don't want to in the beginning, he will work on that. I think this is quite amazing. This is a very good verse for those who say, well, I really don't want to do what you want. Ask him to change your mind. 2001 to 2003, Annette and I lived in Spain. We were in the art, we had a wonderful life, right? We went through a course called Freedom in Christ, Pathway to Freedom, it was called. And then in the end, the guy who taught us this, he said, actually I have this notion that God maybe wants you back to Denmark, right? And I said, I have a fine life here, it's excellent, everything is perfect, right? And then said, well, maybe that was a good idea. I said, no, we staying, right? Then this guy, he said, I mean, I love this guy, but you know, sometimes he says the strangest things. Then he says to me, would you tell God that if he changes your mind, you would be willing to go? I said, yeah, of course. You know, I will do whatever God says to me. All right. I think we should go home and ask God. We went back to Denmark in January 2003.
Yes.
1 month later.
Yeah.
He totally changed my mind. This one, at that time, I would like that to take me out of the Bible, but it's in there and it works.
Agreed.
Yes.
First, he prepares us, his way of making us do stuff. First, he prepares us, then he performs a test in new things and helps us through it. This is to show you how good God is to us. And even if we fail, it should have been fail the test. Not hail the test. Fail the test.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. I just read what it
He
said.
picks us up after our failure. Then he prepares some more. And then he will help us through when he tests us again. This is God in a nutshell. He's doing most of the work, isn't he? Then he takes us to the next level of intimacy. And we have learned more about the extent of his love for us and his ways. And that is God's way. Even though we might think bad thoughts about ourselves when we fail the test, he doesn't. He and his love helps us through it and takes us to the next level of intimacy. What happens in your life when you fail to do something you set your mind on?
We get angry with ourselves for a start off. I can only point at three.
See,
He does not.
What happens when we fail? When we fail to do our own thing, or when we fail
No.
God's way?
you know, if we have taken us to a new level of some kind,
Yeah.
then we perform a test to see how we react when we are tested.
Yeah.
You know, the way he tests things is like, well, I'll demonstrate it another way.
Yeah.
Sometimes he does this, right?
Yeah.
And everybody can, stand this, right?
Yeah.
But if you take a big nail and or a fork maybe, and twist it,
Yeah.
that's
really
how
good.
it feels sometimes in our feelings when something happens, right? And he wants us to be able to, even though our feelings are up there inside, to react his way. This is not putting up an act. This is what God wants. And Joyce Meyer once talked about a parking lot, and the guy who just stole a parking place in front of her, and she could feel how the blood got all the way up there and almost came out of the other end of the head. Right?
Yeah.
These are the situations we are subject to during tests of our patience. See,
Never ask
Galatians
a question.
5:22 in there somewhere says patience.
Yeah. It's because
Never ask for
because
patience.
we have emotions. I mean, those are our emotions.
We do have emotions and they help us, as we've seen in Esther, but they can also out to kill us,
Yeah, yeah.
as is our attitudes.
I've had a situation where that's happened to me, where somebody, a man, literally, you can see he's determined. We both, I'm going in it. And you know what? It helped me, and it threw him. Because when he did it, I looked at him and I went, and he was so shocked at how good I felt. Normally I'd have been,
I'm not sure that's the right
What
line.
did that? What did she do?
That,
I
that,
blew him a kiss.
Yeah.
And it made me feel good as
I
well.
would have thought you were sarcastic.
Yes, I mean, I would.
No, because inside I'm saying, God bless you. And then,
Oh, that's all right.
well, that's
but
all
then I
right.
had to learn to mean that, because I didn't really mean
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
really mean that at the time.
No, it really is like, thank you, sir, you helped me with my patience.
Not my shopping.
I'll get you next time.
You know,
We'll meet again.
God is very patient. You might actually get it next time.
Next time, you never know, exactly. Yeah.
We can pray for that if you want. Note 2. All he requires is that we love him.
Yes, easy.
Yeah. And what did Jesus say? If you love me, you will obey me.
Yes.
There we go. Short and sweet.
This is how God works.
Yeah.
That way will never change. But something changes. When we are faithful with little, passes the test, he will trust us with something bigger. Not only that, we will have grown in one of the fruits of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22. Yes. And on the other side of the test that we have passed, the weight of the next thing he wants us to go through is a little tougher. He will increase the scale of the weight that it has on us. Because he wants us to be, what does he want us to be?
Perfected.
Yeah.
What?
What's that word?
He wants us to be perfected.
Yeah, what's the word in?
Perfected.
He wants us to be mature
Wants us to
Yeah.
grow
and-
mature, yeah.
Ruth.
come to the fullness of the stature of the, what's it called?
Good God.
Yeah.
Trust him.
Perfected.
Not lacking anything. I think comes later, this word. So you can say, no matter what happens in the test that you're getting, in school it's like failure or you pass. And if you pass, you have to go all the way around. That's not God. He says, even if you fail a test, you will get something good out of it. There will be something good in it for you. You will experience my love. You will experience where you are right now. You cannot think yourself bigger than you are because you just failed the test. And all these positive things.
I failed so many times.
Who doesn't? I mean,
But it doesn't really matter.
it doesn't matter what,
It-
of
it-
course
It's
it
good
does
to know that
matter.
it's still
What matters is that we're rising up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no matter what actually happens, this is a God-given opportunity to grow into deeper intimacy with God. Because even though you fail, you also grow in intimacy with God because you're learning about His love.
Yeah.
I mean, when He actually picks you up and says, well, this is the way to go through it, I'll help you. I'll support you. I mean, you're learning about love and intimacy. Good. This is why James, he says, always consider it pure joy when you're subject to whatever trials you're facing. Because no matter whether you pass them or you fail them, you will have joy in it. Because learning about God and His love in your life gives you joy. I mean, realizing that no matter what you do, He loves you.
There's a commercial of a little girl playing soccer, and she misses the goal. She's little, and she misses the goal.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And she comes back, and you see her walking hand in hand with her father. You only see them like this. And she says, "Oh, Papa, I'm sorry, but I really tried, and I'm sorry I didn't make it." And the father says to her, "I thought you were fantastic. I thought you were great. You were wonderful." And then the picture gets bigger, and you see that the father is blind. Oh, wow.
He was shouting encouragement up to her on the
Can you
side.
imagine? I mean, just see, I thought you were
And
fantastic.
she missed the goal, yeah.
And she missed the goal, but
Yes.
He
He
loved
didn't
her.
see that.
what love, huh?
So
What
that's
love.
what love. And that comes from what we just had in the previous page. We need to look at things different. I mean, out in the world I was in for many years, it always was about success.
Achievements, yeah.
Money. Prestige. Right? That's how that world functions. In God's world, it functions like this. If you love something, you can do something. If you love everybody, no matter what you do, you are perfect. It doesn't matter what you do. Just think of the guy who thought of taking up the paralyzed man. He got 3 other guys and lifted him up, made a hole in the roof, lowered him down so he could be healed. Those 4 guys, they were in the Bible.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the only thing they did in their lives, but they did it, didn't they? They were in the Bible. Everybody reads about them.
And they must have had love for that guy to go to those lengths.
Yes. But they also have faith, because Jesus said their faith had healed you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was their love for him that they wanted him to be healed, and their faith in Jesus that he would do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It didn't matter if they destroyed the roof, did it?
No. I have often wondered about the house owner.
Yeah, those roofs, they really weren't destroyed, but they were taken apart, yeah.
No.
Doesn't mention the household, is it?
No, it doesn't.
No?
No.
What?
He was
Doesn't
just
mention the
he was
household
probably
because
over
he's
the moon
over
about
his
the
reaction
healing.
is making the home.
He was
Oh, but
over the
they
moon about the
actually-
healing that
yeah,
happened.
they just-
It'd be in the
in his house.
history book.
Yeah.
It'd probably be in the history
No,
book.
but we know that those houses were where they can just lift up things and move things
See,
around.
here we have this.
But they had to get up there to do it.
Yes. Consider pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So, perseverance must finish its work. So it's about persevering things. Right? Yeah. So not only is everything that happens an opportunity to grow and become complete, not lacking anything, but it's also an opportunity to be content and joyful at the same time. How does that work? Why should we consider pure joy? Because all the other things that we talked about, recognizing the love of God, His ways with you, getting to know His ways, right? That gives you joy to see how much He loves you.
Attention He has for you.
Yes.
Of course.
Good. Here it comes. Song of Songs chapter 1 through 8 talks about this transformation all the way through. It shows the route to go from the immature bride to the mature and complete bride, not lacking anything. That is why after the course is finished, you will be able to go on.
After the course is finished, I'll go up.
There's still Ruth, and there's still hearing from God left. And tabernacle and stuff like that. Yeah, 1 John 2, verses 12 and 13. You can read them yourself. But what they are saying is you are going from children via young men to fathers. They are talking about the spiritual growth from baby Christians via tested and young Christians to fathers. Fathers is a symbol of the mature Christians that are not lacking anything.
Milk to meat.
Pardon?
Milk to meat.
That's another way of saying it, yes. In chapter 2, the bride has seen she's a beautiful rose, righteous in Jesus' eyes. She is that pure, white, and righteous rose among those who are cursed. So now we are recapping in chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
She sees Jesus, her beloved, as full of life and tastes a freshness as when you bite an apple that fills your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit poetic now, right? If you can stand that. And you have realized that she's under Jesus' protection and she's become full of love for him. She wants more. She wants to be fed with the basics, love and basic knowledge about the important stuff like sin and righteousness and judgment. And let us see how that makes the bride feel. Chapter 2 verse 6. Can you imagine the left arm under my head, left arm under the head, and the right arm embraces like this. This is how the bride feels, laying safely in his arms, right? No matter what she's doing. She might be doing something that is hard, facing a situation where she's being accused of something, but she feels like this. She's carried by Jesus like this. She will feel his love for her and the security, protection. So she feels like, I can never lose, no matter what I do.
Yeah.
That's the bride. That's where she is right now in verse 6 here. And that is how Jesus carries us in every situation. We are held firmly in his embrace. Nothing and no one can manage to remove us from him. Every situation, even when Norman goes up and talks about the prayer meeting. Jesus, he's got him like this, protects him. And I could see a couple of times you suddenly remembered something and then you said it. Jesus is there. Jesus is here. He wants you to see this now. That's why the emphasis is on it. Nothing can steal this from you. This protection, this love from Jesus. We have surrendered everything to him. I mean, who couldn't surrender when they feel like that? Right? And there are no defense mechanisms active, and we rest faithfully in his strong arms. There's no resistance. We just lay in there. That's how we can feel inside, because that is how it is. Our feet still touches the ground when we lay there. So we can run away if we want to, but we don't want anything or anyone else when we get to exactly this point. We only want to follow Jesus. We are just swimming in his love. That's what I meant with poetic. It's like we're swimming around in his love all the time. And when we get to feel that, no opponent is too big for us.
That's right. Yeah.
Totally protected. Verse 7. It's a bride who's saying this to the friends. She says, "Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and by the does of the field. Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires." Well, a doe and a deer and a gazelle. Have you seen them on the field in like Africa? Have you seen pictures of it? Have you seen how their ears are like this? And by the slightest move they see in the grass. Can you imagine a person when they hear about something that's worthwhile? Oh, I want that. Off they go. I want to do that. Well, I want to be like that. Okay, I can be like that. I just should. Oh, they were missionaries in Africa. Look at this. Look at what they're doing. I want to be a missionary. Now, next week. Okay, I'm buying my ticket now. But in God's kingdom, there are appointed times for things. They are called Kairos moments. The bride just experienced one in the last verse. So in this verse, she knows she has felt how good it feels with her maturing process in his arms, right? And she says to the bride, to the daughters of Jerusalem, do not make this kind of love that you feel, because you will heard it from me, tell you, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, because they are not ready for it. There are time for everything. There has to be a preparation. Like when, and you all heard this, that God suddenly comes to you and say, I want you to be a preacher. And what happens? They go to their pastor and say, I want to preach. 5 minutes, been Christian 5 minutes. Right? I want to. He said to me, about 15 years ago, he said to me, and Annette as well, would you help me build the church? Yes. And then he says, I'm going to put leaders around you to help you with this. Okay. Fine. Go to a leader and say, well, who's going to help us do this? Right. 5 minutes after. Took 15 years. Right. So, what he is trying to tell us when he reveals what he wants us to do is, well, this is the end thing for you. Now you're going to be built up to be able to do exactly that.
Yeah.
Character, faith, and whatever. Knowledge, maturity, all these things have to be built up inside of us before we can actually do what God wants us to do. It's not like passing an exam in 2 years instead of 7. No, you go the full 7 years, or how many God wants you to go before He actually releases you. That's what this verse means. Do not awaken love before it's time. What if we do something because we think it's a good idea? How's that? Well, we had this teaching about the 6 foundation blocks, didn't we?
It works.
Yeah. First one is repentance from dead works, which are words which doesn't have the Father in it, or Jesus in it, or the Holy Spirit in it. And we can be occupied with this for many years. And we haven't moved 1 inch in maturity. You get people that have been Christians for 30 years that are immature Christians. We are not supposed to be immature when we've been in the church for 30 years. But many churches, in them you don't grow. That's why I think it's so wonderful that we have, that God showed Andrew these teachings so that we could grow, start growing and be trained and whatever God wants us to do.
And everybody has the same opportunity.
Yes, everybody has
It's
the
not
opportunity.
just you have been invited.
No,
everyone
everyone.
can go.
Everyone
I think
can
that's
go.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because we all have different gifts, like we are like an organism, right? And in an organism, everyone is needed. Otherwise, something is missing. So in that organism, we are a Christian church. We all need to participate with whatever gift God has given us, so that we can be complete as a church, not missing anything. Because it's not only one person. This is about the full church.
The body.
The body, yeah. Because that is a body. And that is why it's so important that we encourage those that are not in the process yet. Everyone is needed.
And encourage to walk in that.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
Even failures are opportunities to grow.
Yeah.
So we don't need to get it right first time,
We talked
or second or third.
We talked about this yesterday in the women's meeting. Encourage one another to walk.
So maybe someone has said to someone, well, you'll be an evangelist. And then you would lead, and lead many into salvation. So I started the day after, but nothing happened. Right? I went to the streets and nothing happened. Well, he might have said that, and let's say he did. Then you can ask yourself, did he tell you when? Or did he give you an instruction about where and with whom? Did your leaders recognize the gift? And have they laid hands on you and blessed you into that service? Because it works this way. He has appointed elders for the church. You have these apostles, pastors, whatever, everything. Some of those see the giftings of people. And when they've seen them starting to work, then they contact them and talk to them about it. And in the end, when they find you ready for that, they will appoint you to do it as well. And then suddenly, with that appointing, when they put their hands on them, lay hands on them, and bless them into the service, God will do something extra. He will put the service gift on them. Not only the Holy Spirit, fruits of the, what's it called, these gifts?
Fruit of the Spirit.
Gifts of the Spirit.
Gifts of the
There's a
Spirit.
gift of the Spirit, but then there's also the
There's a
service
fruit.
gift with the same name.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Pastor, prophet, teacher, whatever.
Five ministry.
Then he puts that extra thing on them, the extra layer. Right.
It's
So
the
the
ministerial gifts.
ministry gifts, yeah. That's how it works in God's kingdom. And you might be able to say to them, well, I would really like to try to preach. And then if it works out fine, then maybe they get, they find out that this is maybe something for you, and then you get to practice some more. Sometimes they actually make you do something in the kids' school first, and then the youth, and then maybe from the pulpit. But we need to submit to their decisions, because we also need to be patient, obedient, and all, mature in many ways to actually be able to operate the right way in God's kingdom.
Can I add something on that?
You can.
I think some are called to do something, like whatever it is, but they have not been trained to walk in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They have been told you are like that, but they have not been taught what does it mean to be like that. Like evangelist, or it could be anything, mercy gifts, it could be whatever it is. We can label it, but we're not walking. We don't have the knowledge of what it actually means.
Yeah. And we went through this verse, Philippians 2:13, where God enabled us to want and also do what He wants us to do. Sometimes that takes 25 years.
Yeah.
Because we need to actually engage actively in asking Him and doing what He says. Or you can do it the other way, like God did this time. He said to Andrew, take the guy through this 2.5 years discipleship course. Then I have a grounds for you to see who to use for what. So everybody, this course is for everybody. Because everybody benefits from it. No matter how old they are in Christianity, no matter how mature they are, there's always something new. Which I know, because first time I went through it, and I go through it again and teach it to others, I learned more than I did the first time.
That's why God's word is called daily bread.
Yeah, it is.
And living word.
Fresh bread every day, yeah.
I know the calling.
Yes.
I know the calling that I had on my life. I was like, okay, and that's years back. It was 2003, wasn't it? 2003 or something. And one. It was about that time, and I struggled because I didn't really want to accept it. I didn't know what to do with it. I got scared, and nobody told me. And then people told me you have to walk in that authority. You have to take it in and say, okay, I accept it, and then I walk in it. But it's not as easy peasy and squeezy. It's not because I was called to be a prophet, but nobody taught me how to walk in that gifting. I was more like
Then you're scared.
I was more scared. And what am I going to use that for?
Many times over the years, people have told me I'm going to be a prayer warrior. And I used to be,
No.
Not me.
that's not me.
Not me.
That's
But
not
then-
me.
But then our pastors in Denmark, they realized, I shared it with them, I told them what the Lord had called me to. I wrote it down in my Bible in 2001. And then, that out-of-body experience I had at that time. That was like, okay, I'll share that with the pastors. But what happened was actually they got afraid of me.
Oh.
So they didn't want to teach me. They didn't want to show me. So I was left in the desert. And that made me even more like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I might be wrong.
So
I
now,
was in the mountain 2.5 years.
but now you can see how important it is to have a pastor that really wants to promote your growth.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if that pastor is secure in his position, hears from God, there shouldn't be any problem. But not all pastors are like that. That's why Andrew teaches, if you're not being fed the right food where you are, it's okay to leave that church. But that should be the only reason. If you're being fed the right food, stay there. Because not all small churches do that. Okay. So we've been talking about do not await love until it pleases Him. Yes.
I think that's where inferiority complex comes from, because I shared that
Okay.
yesterday. I think that comes from that.
That's what I said about before, the goats and the gazelles. And some people they recognize the gift they have and they start running with it. You mature and everything. And it shouldn't be like that.
If you have a gift, others will recognize your gift.
Yes.
And sometimes they'll recognize your gift before you even recognize it yourself.
Yes.
And that's the whole idea, is that that's the body, that's what makes the brethren, that's what makes the unity, that's what makes the church.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But sometimes we also have persons that really want to be somebody.
Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
sometimes when they see, well, that's a gift I have, I mean,
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have something, yeah. But I mean, this is what they need, well, it comes into humility a little bit, doesn't it? But I mean, this is what needs to also be understood by people who say,
What do
okay,
you
it's
mean
good if you
prayer
have a
warriors?
gift. It's good if you
What
have
do
a
you
gift.
mean prayer warriors? Lift up your arm.
Other people recognize your gift.
it is definitely the way that people should recognize it before you promote yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've just had a revelation.
Yeah.
Read books. I'd be interested in prayer. I actually got one of the books on learning how to pray.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sort of recognise all different types of prayer. And think, well, I can do this, I can't do that, I can do this, I can do that. But I never had any inclination to lead prayer. But guess what I ended up with?
Prayer.
Prayer.
Yeah.
The Lord never told me,
Yeah.
because when I was born again, it was almost like the Lord told me, heal thyself, physician, heal thyself. So there's a ministry of healing there, which I did. I didn't heal myself, he healed me, but I had to stand on the faith for that. And then the first time I went into a meeting, there was someone had done something, and I got the words, "You're forgiven." Only those two words, but they were from God. And I spoke them out, that's it. And I've always been able to hear words from God and speak them out. So I've been a physician, prophetic, never realised that ministry was going to be prayer. Because he never told me that. But all the years, prayer, believe it or not, has, when, and I'll tell you, I've been striving with, when people are praying all the way around the world, I'm sitting there spitting bullets out. Seriously. You know, or when they change the subject and they haven't finished on that one, and I never realised that I'm ministering prayer.
Why do things intended?
Sorry? Say that slowly.
Why do you think he didn't tell you?
Because it wasn't the right time.
You might have run with it
But
too
it's
soon.
also that you were growing without knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he loves you.
Oh!
Yes, because he loves you.
I've been
You were growing without knowing because he loves you.
And I thought it just dropped me in it just like that.
Well, however, about
Yeah.
these
Sorry.
things here,
Yeah.
that's fine. However, I think you get the picture now. Even though we want to run full speed, be mature fast, get into ministry fast, it's not a good idea to try to do that. Until we are ready. Who knows when we are ready? Jesus does. And
I wasn't saying me by putting my finger up at the
I know. And Jesus knows, the pastor normally also knows, because sometimes without even me looking, he's in that window there. See that little square there? Pastor looking in on us sometimes. So he'll see if you know how it goes in there. Yeah, that's how he does it.
Sneaky.
So he's the also stepping out in faith.
Oh, but you really pushing that, are you?
No, she's not. She's too good at it. I need her.
And let's say something.
Sorry, Ned.
Isn't it also stepping out in faith and not being holding on to this is my gifting, so whatever I do, say and act has to be according to that gifting. which you don't even know about. But what about stepping out in whatever God is showing you that day, now and then?
Yeah.
But there's a way of stepping out that is right. There's another way of stepping out that's wrong.
But you will never know before you try it.
That's why we have pastors to kind of guide us.
Yeah.
So if you think you are something,
I can agree with what she's saying now.
Yeah.
Because when Mia said, I'm leaving, I knew, he knew, and knew that we weren't to stop the arts and crafts. And yet we didn't know where to go with it.
Yeah.
Because we certainly couldn't run it the way Mia was running it, or doing it as she was doing it, because we didn't have her talent. So it was just
But you did it before.
belief. Believe that God wanted it to
Step out
run.
in faith
And that was faith, because
I think you actually need one more thing. Faith is one thing, which is good, and you need that. But you also need love for it.
oh well, I guess we have that.
Yes, you do.
You have love for it and I have love for you.
Oh, we do, yeah. Well, we had. I'll tell you where the love came in. The idea of doing it for a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Yes.
a good
Raise money
reason.
for
Yeah, that's the main thing.
the homeless.
All right. Don't awaken love before it's so decided. Well, does that mean you're saying it's not a good idea to start things like men's group or discipleship groups or satellite churches or what? What are you saying when you say this? No, I don't remember having said that, but I do remember saying that it's not a good idea if the Holy Spirit hasn't told you to do it, and the elders and the pastor hasn't laid hands on you and placed you to do it. You know, this is like a conversation with someone that is saying, well, you just, man, this is good things, aren't they? Yes, they are. But there is a way of doing things in God's kingdom. There is a certain order in everything He does. Yeah. And He leads us by His Spirit, and everybody can stay happy and joyful. Yeah. No matter whether they fail doing stuff or not. Joyful and happy.
Like
So,
that.
yeah. She is very happy.
Yeah.
Even through the
Happy and
hardship.
joyful you are.
Yeah.
And when you are doing something, there is a way of measuring whether you are doing it with His authority or not. His burden is light and His yoke is easy. I remember the difference between now and when I did something in another church with Annette for a few years, where we were always tired. And like that. We are probably working more hours now.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting tired that way. I'm not losing interest. And when I'm doing it, I'm happy. See, that's a difference of
Absolutely.
following the Spirit and not following the Spirit. And that's how it's supposed to feel. Burden is light and the yoke is easy.
If you're not in the right place at the right time, then you're not going to feel right.
Right? Yes.
Amen?
Yeah. And no matter how much my back hurts or my neck hurts when I get in here, start teaching, I can't feel it.
Amen. When you come home, I scratch out the floor.
Yeah.
But it's obvious that you enjoy what you're doing.
I am. Oh,
It's
yes.
in the right place at
That's
the right
right.
time, and so it feels right.
So if God isn't behind what you do, it will be dead works. And dead works feels hard to do. It's like a big yoke on your shoulders. And I think we all tried that so we can recognize it.
Yeah. In there.
Let's have the Bible words now. 1 Timothy 5:22. Do not be hasty in laying on of hands, and do not share in the sins of others. Keep yourself pure. Why did I put that up there? Laying on of hands is blessing people into a service.
Service, yeah.
If you do that too fast, they are not equipped to do it, and you will feel awful for the person trying to do that job. And then the second part of it, do not share in the sins of others. If someone comes to you and says, don't you think I should do this and this?
Yeah.
And you know it. Sometimes you just say, yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah. God bless. Get on with it.
But if you haven't asked God about it,
Yeah.
it's dead works what you're doing. And if he hasn't asked God for it, if he hasn't been prayed for by the pastor, it's not a good idea. Right? And then if he goes out and do something, you share his sin.
Yeah. Yeah. He told me I could do it.
They all say I could do it,
Yeah, they all said I could do it. Oh, yeah.
but then they all share his sin.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
But there were only two, weren't there?
It was under 2 at the time, come on, go.
But see, sometimes people can get hurt if someone does something they shouldn't do. And what is happening to them in their heart is also on us if we haven't heard from God before we say yes or no.
Because it demoralised the whole body.
The Christian nation is subject to people's finger pointing.
That's right. Yeah.
When we go out there, we are ambassadors for Christ.
Yeah.
What we do, is measured up against the whole body of Christ.
We actually Christians live in the fishbowl. No place to hide.
Ah, that way. Yeah, true. Yes. Sins of others are dead work. Dead works is a sin. It's missing the mark because God's or the Father's will is not in it. Everything that is not initiated by the Father is dead work. And that means it's a sin. So everything God isn't behind, forget it. Don't do it without asking God what. And don't awaken that love before time. If we are not equipped to do a thing, the result will not bear fruit to God's kingdom. Alright, let's have a new word.
Sorry.
I like T-bone steaks, right?
Yeah,
Just the thought of handing one to a baby.
You've been choking that kid.
But
You're
if,
getting a baby.
but if you feed T-bone steak to a newborn baby, because they don't do that because they might choke on it, right?
They will choke.
Really?
Yeah, because they are not equipped to chew it or to digest it.
No.
I like the next one better.
Okay.
If you feed an adult baby food, you still get a bad result out of it and might have to wash yourself afterwards to get the smell of baby food out of
There's a lesson for you. Don't feed me baby.
it. What I'm trying to say is,
Personal
You have to
opinion.
go for that one.
That's a personal opinion.
Sorry, my head hurts.
I read someplace, put humor in everything that is boring. Right? Even though it's not boring, then I just put humor in there. People start laughing, that's a good thing. I mean,
Definitely not boring.
I was going to say something, what was that? Oh yeah. You have to feed people also in churches the right food at the right time. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
you're missing the mark and it will be dead works as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's been amazing for me when I've been teaching stuff around different places to different people that I can have the same PowerPoint slides and use them to 10 different people groups and it will be a different outcome every time.
That's true.
But it's
Because
living
it depends on the people who are there. I mean, I don't know how it happens. I'm not that intelligent,
Yeah,
but God is.
yeah.
So
That's cute.
it is.
Yeah.
All right then. This verse reminds us that to ensure good result of our works, we need to let Jesus lead us into them when He finds us ready. We shouldn't rush into doing things even though we feel very much for it or have love for something. Okay then. I'm not gonna. Bride is talking to her friends. Now imagine this. The bride is seeing her lover. Then she says, listen, my lover, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. She's so excited. Listen, my lover, look, here he is. She's been longing for him, right? Who's this lover? This is Jesus. So, we are that bride. So when he actually says something to us or shows us something, we should have the same enthusiasm as him. It's like, that's my lover doing something in my life. Leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. What's a mountain?
What's the matter?
Oh, I know what it's not. Exactly.
Problems.
Whole thing.
An obstacle?
Obstacle. Let's go with obstacle.
Yeah.
Yes, that's an obstacle. What obstacles?
Does he leap over?
Wow.
Oh,
So he's leaping over the obstacles. Okay. But just first to see the love in the first three words. This is genuine love, right? When we react like that and show how appreciative, how much he means to us, Jesus, then we show other people how we love him. And that, in our home for the past week, resulted in one person actually accepted Jesus into her life.
yes, sir.
Yeah. And when we feel like that, there's no boundaries to what we want to do. So what she's describing the first love of Jesus. You remember in Revelations, I think it's 2:4 or something, God says to a church, I have this against you, that you have forgotten your first love. How can that happen, I think? How can we forget the first love of Jesus?
Well, the things get in the way. Trials,
Distraction.
distractions.
I don't think that for a second.
That's not really how you forget. the
No.
first
Oh,
love.
sorry, no.
How you
I
forget.
mean,
Because
perhaps we get a bit complacent.
because trials, we just found out,
Yeah.
trials led by Jesus into something gives us joy.
Yeah.
And what I think it is, they have been allowed to do their works, they become tired,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things get boring.
Yeah.
complaining about how hard it is that people don't do anything in church. I have to do all of this work.
I was going to say, what I would consider is legalism.
Dear me, talk about yourself.
I think legalism is one of the biggest problems in the church, where they lose sight of Jesus because they have all their
But
interests.
legalism also continues into dead works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
So it is dead works that's a real problem. Anything not initiated by God is dead works, except if it's in the Bible, like you have to vacuum clean every week.
Is that right?
Yes,
No.
something like that.
I hope you're doing it when I'm down in Corona.
Judges 29.
Gloria vacuumed while I was in Norway.
I know.
Just turn that vacuum spin
But
out.
Now we started something.
not everything not initiated by God in word from Him directly to you is that word, because sometimes it's in the Bible. And God said, well, that's my instruction book. If you follow that one, I'll tell you the rest. Right? So we need to actually look in that Bible to see what else are we supposed to do, what else is expected of us, and He will guide us.
Okay.
Hope it's not too much fun.
So that's why we don't take notice of cleanliness is next to godliness. Because it's not in the Bible.
Yeah. And also 2 Timothy 2:7. Notice what I'm telling you, because God will give you insight in all of it.
Oh!
That's good.
Kicking on.
I gotta write that one
I've just pulled that out of my forehead.
It's got problem today. And it's got problem today.
Yeah.
Talking of first love, how to maintain it. There are ways of maintaining our first love. Second part of verse 8 is leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. They represent their obstacles, but they are really spiritual strongholds. And what are strongholds? Strongholds is led by our imagination. Every high thing or thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God.
Okay.
This is why Jesus says, let everything you get into your head go through my filter. And what is that verse again?
This mind in you that is also in Christ Jesus.
Yeah, that's almost the same thing, but we need to, what's it called now?
I don't know where you are.
What is it? God living in one mind? That's in,
No.
I'm just writing on that one. That's First Peter.
I forgot it, but I'll tell you later.
3 parts.
But this is
No,
what
3:8.
this is what strongholds are. I mean, if you in situations notice that you're thinking thoughts that are different from what you can find in the Bible, or that you have a stronghold around in something, and you say to yourself, why do I keep thinking this at this time?
Well, you can have people around you
Yeah.
that make suggestions or give information that is not correct.
Yeah.
And yet you can't accept it as correct until something,
Yeah.
some
That's
kind of
the problem.
revelation tells you it's not correct. But the time that you're accepting it, you're going to be losing your contact with the Lord.
Well, but the locally law doesn't lose contact with you, so But anyway,
But we're
we-
talking about your mind, how
we-
your mind works.
yes, we are just talking strongholds now, and then afterwards, when it's time to get rid of the strongholds, the Lord will have contacted you and reminded you of it.
Revelation.
But these imaginations, they can come from many places, like also Paul says, including the lies you have been told from the pulpit in church or from the internet on those terrible rich American churches that are there. They're mostly terrible.
Rich American churches.
Yeah.
Come on,
No,
be
not
nice.
terrible. They have eyes.
Some of them are not terrible.
Yeah, when they say, if you send this in, X number of dollars, we'll give you, and you will be blessed with this.
So,
Just stick with SBN and you'll be all right.
I'm not all right with any of them.
Come on, woman.
But the
We love
lies
SBN.
we hear are possibly a source of creating strongholds inside of us. And so that's why we should weigh everything that we go with
Measure.
through this Jesus Christ,
Word.
what's it called? Sith or whatever. We have to filter it through his words. It irritates me, I cannot remember that.
Yeah, sift is a good word.
But anyway,
Well, if it's not confirmed in the word, then
Let go and let
it's
go.
not confirmed.
so we are talking about all kinds of difficulties, including the schemes of the enemy, doubt, trading, and compromise that can create strongholds inside of us. That's the strongholds that we're talking about when we say leaping on mountains, skipping upon hills. Because he can do it. He can skip over them. He can totally remove them. But what does he do? He uses them as a stepping board to the next. So instead of an obstacle, it becomes a help. When does a stronghold become a help for us?
Our test is our testimony.
Yes.
When we have a test,
When we
get a testimony.
when we are on the other side of it, have done away with the stronghold, it helps us to overcome the next one.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes. He shows us how to do it. He doesn't let these things stop us. We could feel bad about them, couldn't we? Oh, this stronghold. Oh, I messed up again. No. That's not the way. Yes, I saw it. Jesus is going to help me through it. I'm okay. Because he loves me. He doesn't let them slow him down. He recognizes them, using them as stepping stones to the next one to move. He's using them to make jumps and long jumps, using them as stepping stones to the top of the next one. And I will select the stepping stone over the stumbling block anyway. There shouldn't be stumbling blocks for us, the stronghold. There should be stepping stones.
Thomas, I've just had
Another one.
a picture.
Oh, wait a minute, a revelation.
You know, you get a river, which is an obstacle,
Yeah.
hill, whatever. But you can have a stepping stone
In the
place to go over. But the stepping stone, if you take it out, you've got on dry land, can be a stumbling block.
It could. And remember, we are trying to think spiritually here. But that's exactly how it works inside of us. When we have realized, I can get over a stronghold. And remember, God always starts with a not as difficult stronghold. But when we realize, I've got free of that, then next time he points at one, so, well, with his help, I can get through that one as well. Right? And when that is done, suddenly, no matter what we discover in us, we will think, I can do this. With God, I can do this. And I want to do it. So, yeah. That's how.
Holding on.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get through the trials.
And not let go.
So what should we do with these strongholds? We should step on them and ask God to help us through them. And then suddenly, the 2 Peter 3:12 makes a lot of sense. He said we should, while we wait for Jesus to come back, we should be looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Lord, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. There's one word there, hasting. It is the only place in the Bible it's there, but the only way to use the word hasting is in warfare. And it means we relentlessly attack the enemy's strongholds. So when you discover one, be relentless. Don't have any mercy with this stronghold. Paul says it another way in his book. He says, I was relentless with my own body. Didn't care about my body. I don't know what the English word was, but he's hard on my own body, I think he said. Yeah. Don't accept any stumbling blocks when you discover them. Go to Jesus with them. Let's talk about mountains a little bit more. We have been given authority to trample them under our feet. The mountains have to move away from us if we have faith like a mustard seed. So every stronghold in our life has to go if we have faith to command it to go. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. So, God will establish his kingdom on top of the mountains. That means they are all done with. All done with, and he will establish his on top of them. It will be stronger and everlasting. So he will have established his stronghold. What's his stronghold? That is his thoughts, his ways, his acts. That is the stronghold of our Lord. Because the Holy Spirit has a stronghold inside of us, and that is what we are feeding by getting rid of the other ones from the devil. It makes sense now, doesn't it? So every time we get rid of one of the strongholds from the devil, the stronghold of the Holy Spirit grows in us. Less of me, more of him. That's how to grow. Do away with the bad stuff and get some good stuff in there. There will be no more lies, only truth, and all nations will seek to be with him. And he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his path. Just imagine that. A nation that is being taught his ways and walk in his path. This is Luke 3:5. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways shall be made smooth. This is how it is to know Jesus. That's how our life will be like. Yeah. That is love. And already at Zechariah's time, you could see how God told us that this thing about mountains were, who are you, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel, you shall become a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone thereof, with shouting, crying, grace, grace unto it. What is Zerubbabel? What is that? Anybody know? It means my servant. Are you his servant?
Yes.
Everybody here is his servant. O great mountain, before Bonnie and Norman there, and then Ole, you shall become a plain. So he's talking to all of our strongholds now. He says, you are going to be massacred before my servants, God is saying. He's saying, he shall bring forth a headstone thereof. What's a headstone? That's the cornerstone. Who's the cornerstone? That's Jesus.
Yes, absolutely.
Or the capstone. The capstone that
Capstone?
holds everything in place
Yeah. The,
in an arch.
Cornerstone.
Could you- at that time, he was pointing to Jesus, saying,
Yeah.
he's the one who's going to do this.
Cornerstone,
That's for us today. We're talking about strongholds. We're talking about how to get rid of them. He knew who was going to do it. Jesus is helping us via His Holy Spirit to get rid of all these strongholds that we have. I like this. This is good stuff. So the scripture says, who do you think you are, mountain, devil, stronghold, lie, before my servant, before me? You will be destroyed and removed, and I, Jesus, will be the cornerstone in their lives because of my grace. Not because they deserve it, because I decided to do it because of my grace. I love those guys, he said. Fantastic. And Jesus is saying to you, and you better listen, I've got you as I showed you in Song of Songs 2:6. And I'm jumping from mountain to mountain by stepping on them and overcome all of these obstacles. Nothing can stop my progress. And neither can they stop us when we let Him carry us through them. So no matter what tries to stop you from advancing to the next level, it cannot. Jesus is holding you like this. You are safe. He's helping you through it. He's stronger than anything that's in front of you, to the side of you, behind you, over you, or under you. He's got you. And He's pointing that way, and that's the way you're going. All right? So He helps us to get through whatever we need. And we have been given His authority to trample on demons, strongholds, and every obstacle. Actually, we have been given all authority over all that is seen or unseen. Seen or unseen. That's about everything, isn't it?
Watch out.
So since we've been given all that authority, we can jump over mountains and hills ourselves because of Jesus. We need His help, but we can get rid of our mountains. I have a big question, how can we get to know that authority if we don't know it already? We can wait for it, maybe. We can go to the butcher shop. No, not that either. But we can use it. We can start using it. We can start saying, well, this is, God says I got it. How about I try and use it? Telling that stronghold to go in Jesus' name. By using it, it grows. Your realization of your authority grows when you use it and see it work, just like a muscle that is being worked. When you start working with your muscles, then they grow stronger. So does your authority. But it has to be started somehow. The faith you have today is enough to start some kind of authority act. When you see that work, it's like everything else in God's kingdom, from little to bigger to large. And faithful in the little, He will trust you with bigger things. What time was it? Yeah, we will start with 9:11 now. My beloved is like a roe or young hart. Behold, he stands behind our wall. We look forth to the window, and so on and so forth. For the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. Jesus is like a young stag, He's showing us what to do. He's looking through our window and says, "Get up, darling. It's time to come with me." That means you've been found ready. Right? The winter's over, rain is over. Now a new time has become. The dark time is over. This is where we are at in the Song of Songs. And he's telling you these things.
Yeah.
Dark time is over. Before you knew Jesus, there was only dark times. But now you're no longer in the valley. It's a season for you now because you have decided to say yes to Jesus and you have decided to come to this course. And where you are right now, a new season starts. So next time when you get here, a new season has started. He's going to teach you something that's going to blow your mind. All you need to do is say, "Yes, I want to come the next time."
Yes.
Yes.
And he will work out the rest.
Yes.
A new season has begun in your walk, in my walk with Jesus. And there will be 3 things involved in a new season. You might not want to look at all of them, but here they are. There will be a risk. There will be a battle, and you do need to become a warrior. That's okay. Yes, that's okay. This new season has now started in Song of Songs for our bride and for you. And thank you for today.
Thank you.
Beautiful today.
Thank you for